is Rachel. I'm a homeschool mom to two boys, grades 3rd and 5th. And today's video is about the Growing Up with God study by Gather Round Homeschool. Now I am pre-recording this because I also got the books for my kids, and I wanted to be able to show you the inside of these before my boys actually start using these. We'll be using these, starting these this week, and I believe when I schedule this video to come out, we will be doing these for 2 weeks. I just wanted them to be completely blank when I showed them to you. So I realize now I'm going to be wearing the same clothes as last week's video, but that's fine. So a little bit first about the company Gather Round Homeschool. It was started by a woman named Rebecca Spooner a bunch of years ago. She's a homeschool mom of, I think, 5 children. She's from Canada. And a bunch of years ago, she used to do a YouTube channel called Homeschool On, and she did a really amazing curriculum review comparison on the different topics. And I remember I would always, when I was first started to homeschool, I was always watching those videos for each subject each year, and I found them so helpful. However, she doesn't do those anymore. She actually started her own company, Gather Round Homeschool, and her idea with Gather Round Homeschool was to gather around all your children, no matter the age, and just teach them once, like all together. So what she has on her website is a teacher's companion, as well as student books per age. And her curriculum is really, really well done. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. It is a little pricier for us to be able to continue doing it, but we have done, I think, 3 of their studies in the past. And so this Growing Up with God, which, if I haven't mentioned, is their puberty study. Maybe I should have started with that. And so this will be our 4th study through Gather Round Homeschool. And her idea behind how she can get all her children together in one is it is meant to teach all subjects except for math within sort of a unit study. And so she will have, she has full units that you could go through these, and they have different topics like countries. They have a lot of different science ones, history ones about farming, about sports and PE and transportation. And then within those studies, she's going to incorporate all those topics, but they're going to relate to, like, she's going to bring in language arts and writing and spelling and art and geography and history. And so she's bringing in all of the school subjects, all umbrellaed under the topic of that unit study. And again, I do believe that is not including math. So she has the full units, and then she also has a couple mini units. That is what the Growing Up with God is considered one of her mini units. And her mini units are holidays. She has a bunch of different holidays. We've done one of her Christmas ones in the past. She has U.S. history, government, so a couple different things. So with the Growing with God, what I purchased is I purchased the teacher's companion, and then I got the boys level 1. I actually got 2 of those for my 2 kids, and then I got the boys level 2 for my older son, and then there's also a level 3. Now on her website, she goes very into detail about the difference between level 1, 2, and 3. However, the nice thing is the teacher's companion has the material for all 3 levels. So even though I only bought level 1 and 2, I know what level 3 has in it because I have the teacher's companion, and so I can purchase that when I think my kiddos are ready. They have it separated with boys and girls. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what the boys are like. So if you wanted to purchase the Growing Up with God, I did look up the prices. And again, they have, if I didn't say, they have a digital version and then the printed books that you would pay also for shipping. So for digital, for just one of the student books is going to be $15.95, but then This teacher's companion that has all 3 levels in it for the teaching material is going to be $54.95. If you want it printed, the teacher's companion is $19.95 and the student is $16.95, and then plus shipping. So the reason we chose, my husband and I talked about this, the reason we chose to do sort of a curriculum way of going into puberty, teaching puberty to our boys, I don't think you have to do that. So I think that there are probably plenty of really good just books, and even just discussion would probably work well for some families as well. Now, the reason I wanted to do this is I have been homeschooling now for so long. Everything I teach my kids is kind of in a curriculum format, and that is how my brain works best. That's how I teach best. That's how my kids learn best. That's what they're used to. And so the fact that there was a curriculum for this topic was really intriguing to me, and kind of, I just knew that's the route I wanted to go when it came to this topic. The reason I picked this one is Gather Round I find very trustworthy from a biblical stance. Rebecca Spooner and her other writers, they do an amazing job, not only with the material being accurate, but also honoring God. And that is the number one important thing for my husband and I, especially on this topic of all topics, on it being a biblical understanding of puberty and our bodies. And so I knew that if Gather Round, when I saw Gather Round had a puberty study, I knew that it would be really well done. Now, the other reason that I was wanting to do something kind of written out for me, I am not an expert on boy puberty, and I didn't want to overlook anything. I didn't want to not teach a part of it. I kind of wanted the help. I didn't want Google to be my help. I wanted somebody who had done the research and laid it out in a beautiful biblical way. And so Gather Round Homeschool was, of everything I looked at, I knew kind of the best fit for what I was looking for. And now, even though this is curriculum, this is not part of our homeschool in a sense. It's going to be more of a family thing with my husband. We're going to be doing it after dinner with our boys, but we're not going to put any kind of time frame on when we're hoping to accomplish either of these levels. We're going to start with level 1 for both our kids. They are 8 and 11. And then we do have level 2 for our 11-year-old that I think that we might just do privately with him, or maybe just him and dad, kind of depending on what our son is maybe more comfortable with. We're a pretty open family. There haven't been any times where our kids ask us questions that might be considered uncomfortable. I just answer them. And so they know that there's no off-limit questions, which I think is important, especially about this topic. So, all that to say, this is a new stage of parenting, and here it is. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to flip this around, the camera around, and I'm going to show you inside all of this. Now, one thing I do want to say, because I think it's important, but I'm not going to be showing it on this flip through, is there are photos in this. Not photos, that's not what it is. Illustrations. There are no actual photographs of any body parts, but there are detailed paintings, illustrations of body parts. And so I am not going to show it here because that just feels weird, but I want you to know that there are there, and I'll cover them up. I'll cover them up, but they are in there. All right, so here are the items that I purchased. I got level 1, and I got 2 of these for my 2 boys. I got level 2, and I got the teacher's companion that talks about levels 1 through 3. And also, just because I felt it would be weird if I didn't, I went ahead and covered up any of the photos illustrations of private parts, but they are there, and so you know, but they are not photographs, they are illustrations. Now, I've kind of been flipping through this, and what it looks like it's kind of designed for is that your child will go through a lesson, and then here in the teacher's guide, it's extremely, really encouraged that you guys then talk about it afterwards. And so I'll talk that over with my husband. This was a little bit of a different setup than most to gather around homeschool stuff. With all of their other stuff, you come out of the teacher's companion first, and then the kids go into their own student books. So this is reverse, which is fine. But I'm going to go ahead and show you these. So let me go through the teacher's companion first. All right, here are the chapters for level 1 and level 2. And then the chapters in level 3. I do not have level 3 yet, but I will be purchasing that in the future, I'm sure. So for level 1, here is what the teacher's companion looks like. Now, reading the beginning of this, it is suggested that your child goes through their book first, and then this is the family discussion afterwards. So here's just going to be a flip through. Okay, and then here is level 2. So your child will go through their book first, and then here is the conversation suggestion for afterwards. Level chapter 2, chapter 3, and here on the bottom it'll tell you in here what level you're looking at. Feel free to pause if any of these you kind of want to. I don't know if I'm even allowed to show you every single page. Maybe I'm not allowed to do that. Real quick, level 3. Maybe I need to stop showing. I'll cut out some things. Feels right. These are just illustrations. Just trying to be sensitive here, but just covering them up for the video. All right, so here we go. All right, so this is the teacher's companion. Here is level 1. So here are the chapters, 10 chapters. So your child will go through and read this on their own, or you could read it together. I mean, you guys are the parents, so you know what's best. So it looks like in level 1, it's 1, 2, 3 pages for them to go through, and then you'd go and do the conversation suggestions from the teacher's guide afterwards. So level 1 is just doesn't show any, for the boys, it doesn't show any girl body parts. But it does show obviously the male, and it'll be vice versa for the girl section. Here shows the difference between uncircumcised and circumcised. All right. So just a lot of understanding what to expect. This is for children who haven't gone through puberty yet, but are coming up to it. So, gives you a good idea here. Level 2, they say that there's a lot of similarities between level 1 and 2. It's just the content goes deeper, and then there's more information pertaining to the opposite sex. So in this one, let's see here. We have the same illustrations, and then it'll include the female ones, or the opposite sex ones. If you get the girls, it'll have the boys in there. Now, the other thing that level 2 begins to do, let me see if I can find one, is every once in a while, they're going to ask, well, what about girls? So there's going to, like I said, level 2 brings in more talking about the information on the opposite sex. Level 1 is just primarily what they are, and then they're going to learn more for the other one in level 2. Does that make sense? Probably. Level 2, so for level 1, when it comes to talking about sex, all it has, it really talks about, let me go back to it. Here it's called, they say new life, and they talk about the baby development, okay, and the baby in the mother's belly. Level 2 is where they go specifically into what sex is, and then this is how they illustrate that, and then the baby development. Alrighty, so there is that. Alright, so I hope that that was helpful. I know that this may not be the easiest topic to find materials on, and so at least I was kind of struggling, but I hope that kind of really seeing the inside of these can help you know if this is going to be a good company for you when it comes to this stage of parenting. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Okay, thanks. Bye.